Now I am stepping into the world of Tarochi, a blockchain-based monster collecting game that completely changes how a Web3 game can feel. From the moment I load in, I can already tell this is not a regular experience. Tarochi is built with the idea of being a first-class on-chain game, meaning everything I do, every action, every discovery exists in a way that is designed to last. It is not just a game session that disappears. It is something permanently recorded, and that alone makes this world feel more real. As I begin playing, what immediately stands out is how approachable this game is. I do not need to spend anything. I do not need to own assets. I do not have to invest. I can simply start, play, explore, and earn. That accessibility is one of the main reasons Tarochi matters, especially inside an industry where many players are used to being required to constantly buy or transact. Here I am allowed to enjoy, to test, and to advance without feeling like money is the entry ticket. What Tarochi offers is a fresh kind of adventure. I get a monster at the beginning, then I start moving through this world, learning how battles work, earning rewards, and discovering where I should go next. It gives me a single-player journey, but at the same time I feel connected to others through systems designed to later introduce more social elements. Tarochi aims to evolve into something larger, something where players might share a world, see each other talk, or participate in global events. Right now, what I can appreciate immediately is how much intention there is behind the design. This is not created just to use blockchain. It is created to prove how a game can live entirely on chain, how it can exist on its own, and how players like me can keep coming back knowing my progression is not fragile, not dependent on servers, not temporary, but part of a system that is meant to continue. As I move through Tarochi, I begin to understand why this game matters. It is a glimpse into where gaming is going. It is entertainment, but also experimentation. It is nostalgic yet futuristic. It lets me relive classic monster battles while also interacting with mechanics that have never existed before in this form. So welcome to Tarochi. Welcome to a world that is designed for everyone, where I am free to explore, where I never feel forced, where the game itself invites me in and speaks through its structure, reminding me that this could be the beginning of a very different era of gameplay. The goal is not simply to entertain, but to create a world that welcomes every kind of player. Whether someone wants to play casually, experiment with strategy, or fully commit to progressing through every challenge, there is space for all. What matters most is freedom. Freedom from needing money to participate, freedom from feeling pressured, and freedom to discover I can begin play and go on my journey without paying. That design choice says everything about Tarochi's vision. This game does not want to lock me behind a purchase. It wants to invite, to include, and to make sure that whatever I earn through playing, not through spending. That alone creates trust, and it reshapes how a blockchain game can feel. As I continue, the long-term picture becomes clearer. Tarochi wants to grow into something that evolves, a living, permanent world where my actions have weight, where achievements do not disappear, and where I can look back knowing everything I did continues to exist. It is about permanence. It is about creating a universe that lasts beyond updates, beyond companies, beyond trends. The game also aims to expand from its single-player core. It wants to bring in elements usually seen in massive multiplayer online worlds. I imagine one day walking through Tarochi's zones, seeing others around me chatting, joining global events, and feeling like this game is a shared universe, not just my own personal journey. That dream is not a distant fantasy, it is part of the roadmap. Right now it is about laying the foundation, a monster collecting world battles, exploration rewards, and a structure that respects my time. Instead of asking me to grind endlessly, Tarochi wants me to experience, to enjoy, to think, and to progress. The vision is simple yet ambitious. Create a game where I never feel excluded. Create a world that exists whether I am logged in or not. And build a space where memories, achievements, victories, and losses are not just temporary moments, but permanent marks in a world that continues. I can feel that direction each time I move, and I know it is only the beginning. As I begin exploring Tarochi, I immediately encounter mechanics that feel unlike anything I have seen in other blockchain games. One feature that stands out the most is excavation. Every day I have the chance to explore mines, uncover treasures, and feel a moment of suspense. I never know what I might find. It could be a health potion, a warp card gold, or a different valuable item. The excitement comes from discovery, and each item I uncover adds something meaningful to my journey. What makes these items even more interesting is that they are not locked inside a traditional game inventory. They exist on chain, which means I can choose to use them or trade them. The idea that the objects I earn are real and movable gives an entirely new sense of value. I am not collecting junk, I am collecting assets that live beyond the boundaries of the screen. Another thing that keeps me engaged is how Tarochi approaches combat battles feel familiar in a comforting way. They are turn-based, similar to classic monster games many of us grew up with. I choose moves. I think ahead. I watch attacks land and I gain rewards. Even though the system feels nostalgic, it is backed by something more. It is part of a world that intends to last. The way progression works is also very clear. I start by receiving a monster, then I begin my mission. I learn that I must defeat 4 apprentices, and only after that can I face Morrigan. Knowing there is a structure, a challenge, a path gives me something to work toward. It is not a random loop, it is a story, and I am inside it. There is one more feature I look forward to, and that is daily quests. These quests will give me the ability to excavate for free so I can keep earning, progressing, and exploring without feeling like my time or wallet is being drained. It adds rhythm, it adds purpose. It ensures that every day I log in, I have something new waiting for me. Together, these features make Tarochi feel alive. I am rewarded for curiosity. I progress through battles, I uncover, I plan, I earn, and I move forward in a world that responds to what I do. This is what makes Tarochi stand apart, not only as a game, but as a completely new way of thinking about digital play. As I continue through Tarochi, I start to realize that the most groundbreaking part of this experience is not just the gameplay, but the foundation underneath it. Everything happening here exists because this world is powered by the Paima engine, which allows Tarochi to become fully on-chain. That means when I battle, when I earn, when I discover the state of the game is written permanently, it does not depend on a server someone might shut down. It is stored as part of something designed to last. One of the biggest examples of this technology in action are the stateful NFTs. These are not static collectibles. They do not remain frozen and unchanging. Instead, they evolve. They hold information about what I do inside the game. If I use an item, if I gain something, or if something changes in my inventory, these NFTs can reflect that change. It is the difference between a picture on a wallet and something that behaves like a living object. Another major component is the fact that items and gold exist as blockchain-based assets. I mine them, I discover them, and they come into my possession as things I could choose to trade. They are not locked in a menu closed off from the world. They can move, they can be exchanged, and they belong to me in a verifiable way. Even though Tarochi uses the Paima engine, the specific Cardano native standards or tools are not spelled out to me inside this information. So I cannot say which protocol standard or specification is running behind these assets. But what I do understand is that the blockchain infrastructure supporting Tarochi aligns it with the broader Cardano ecosystem. The connection is present, but the details of why Cardano specifically was chosen are not described. Still, the most important part I can see with my own experience is that putting gameplay directly on chain changes the relationship between player and world. My battles, items, and progress do not disappear when I stop playing. Everything is part of something that is meant to persist. As I walk, battle, and explore, I am constantly reminded I am inside a game that refuses to be temporary. This is a world where time, decisions, and items are not just UI elements, they are part of a chain. And that alone changes how I feel as a player. As I play Tarochi, I can feel the impact it aims to create both for players like me and for the entire ecosystem it lives within. The first thing I notice is how freeing it feels not to be forced into spending. I am able to explore progress and earn without feeling like the game is trying to extract value from me. That alone reshapes the emotional experience of gaming. Instead of pressure, I feel welcomed. Instead of hesitation, I feel curiosity. The way Tarochi structures the rewards is one of his strongest value points. When I excavate, find items, or win battles, everything I gain is mine, and that sense of ownership is amplified. Because these assets are real and part of the blockchain, they can be used, kept, or traded. It is not just a game economy with fake numbers. It is something where what I earn has weight. This model also opens the door to a more inclusive gaming world. Players who have money and players who do not both get the same opportunity. That makes Tarochi accessible to a global audience. And that accessibility is rare, especially in blockchain-related products. There is also a long-term value that I feel. When progress is on-chain, it becomes part of a world that continues even beyond updates or changes. That gives players like me a sense of legacy. My actions matter, my achievements remain, and I am not just passing time. I am participating in something that is evolving. For the wider ecosystem, Tarochi demonstrates a new path. Instead of blockchain being a gimmick here, it is a foundation. It shows that gameplay ownership and world building can exist inside an on-chain framework. Players do not need to trust a server or a company because the world is built to stand independently. As I continue exploring, I realize the value is emotional, practical, and structural. It gives joy because it respects the player. It gives security because what I earn cannot be taken from me. And it gives a model for how gaming can evolve. Tarochi is not trying to be a short-lived project. It is trying to become a world one that supports its players instead of draining them, one that includes instead of filters, and one that invites instead of demanding. When I look at where Tarochi currently stands, I see a game that already offers a full journey I can step into. I start my adventure by receiving my first monster, and right away I'm introduced to the mission ahead. I must defeat 4 apprentices, and only after proving myself through each of those battles will I be able to stand before Morrigan. That structure gives the world a clear objective, something I can focus on, and a sense of purpose that guides me as I explore. Right now, Tarochi is centered on that single-player experience. I move, I battle, I level up and I advance, I earn items through excavation, I uncover resources, and each time I succeed, I feel myself growing inside the world. It is simple but intentionally designed, giving me enough challenge and direction without overwhelming me at the start. As I play, I also get a glimpse of what is coming next. One of the major steps ahead is player versus player combat. The idea of facing real opponents, testing strategy, and seeing how my monster holds up adds a new layer of depth that I know will change the way the game feels. It takes Tarochi from something I play alone to something I can share, compete, and grow within. There are also MMO-inspired features that the game plans to introduce. I imagine walking into an area, and instead of being alone, seeing other players around me. I imagine a global chat where I can speak, ask for help, celebrate victories, or even form rivalries. And there is the promise of long-term global events, where all players in the world may one day experience shared challenges, rewards, or story developments. Another important roadmap item is daily quests. These quests will let me excavate for free, giving me guaranteed ways to earn items or gold without spending. It brings rhythm to the game, a reason to return each day, and a steady loop that respects my time instead of demanding it. Beyond what I can see, there is still a lot that is not specified. I do not have exact dates, launch schedules, or detailed timelines. All I know is what exists now, and what is openly stated as being worked on. The rest remains undisclosed. So, as of this moment, Tarochi is a living, playable, evolving world, and I stand right in the middle of it, watching what it is and imagining what it can become.